Alright guys, so I'm going to go through how to do scatter plot on Google Sheets and a couple of other things in Google Sheets. So I want to pull up here my sample data that I have, and this is, again, sample data, so it's made up, so if your data is different, you shouldn't stress over that. So if you notice, I have three columns here. I have the height in centimeters, the speed in meters per second, and the range in centimeters. I put all of the labels and the units at the top, and I just put numbers in here instead. We want to keep the units out of the cells because that's going to make it easier to do the recording. Now if you notice here, the significant figures are an issue. We were able to measure down to the tenths of a centimeter and estimate to the hundredths. So I want to fix that first. So I'm going to highlight all of these and add, because it chopped off the zeros, I can increase the number of decimal places here. Okay. The PhotoGate was able to give me 2 decimal places, so I should extend this. Same thing here. And here as well with the meter stick. Now, depending on your device will determine how many decimal places. The 2 devices we used for the lab both brought it down to the 2 decimal places, so that's where we're at. Okay, so now to create the graph. We're going to highlight the data for the height and the speed. We're going to create that graph first. Okay, and then over here you have more. So you click on that, and this is insert a chart. So that's what I want. And it's going to come up with a menu. But I don't want a bar chart. I'd like a scatter plot. So I'm going to scroll down here and find a scatter plot. And here it is. So I have this. If you notice, it already has the title and the axis label since I set up the columns that way. There's a few other options here for things we can do to create grids and things of that nature. And we also have ways to customize style, legends, and so forth. One of the things that we will use in the future will be trend lines, and you can find that under series. So you can put that in. If you click on series, you can click on this box for a trend line, and then there's different options for linear or exponential, polynomial, and so forth. Regardless of which one you choose, if you're going to do one, what you do want to have is make sure that it's labeled with the equation and the r-squared value to show you the quality of the fit. Alright, so anytime you do one that has a trend line, you want to put this in. For our assignment that we're going to have due on Monday, you don't need the trend lines in yet because we will go over this in class, but that is how you do it. The one question some students have has to do with using the first and third columns to graph. So if I highlight this data, I can hold down the control button, and then I'll be able to highlight this column without the middle column. And then it's the same process. So I'll go to more, I'll go to insert chart, and again we'll choose a scatter plot. Like this. And now we have range versus height instead of speed versus height. So that's just a simple way that you can create graphs in Google Sheets. We'll talk more about some of the options as we go through later in the course.